Okay, patch notes just dropped, so let's take a look at what's changing in the update that's coming out, 5.0. So this is just talking about everything they're going to be adding, all the new kits. We already know all that stuff. This is the new stuff. This is what just released like 10 minutes ago, as of when I'm recording this. So this is going to be, my first reaction to it. I haven't actually taken a look at these yet, and we'll see what's changing about the game in addition to that new content. So, Splatbrella, Sorella, reduced recovery time if the Brella's lost, as well as being large or broken. Okay, so you're going to get your Brella shield back sooner after it gets shredded, which is a nice buff for it. That's valuable for them. I don't know exactly how much of an impact that's going to have on its viability, but it's only going to go up because of this, and that's the right direction for it to be going. So, I'm happy to see it. It looks like they did a similar thing for the undercover, sort of proportionally, I think. Because the undercover, you get it back faster because it shreds easier. So they're giving you a little bit less time back, but I mean, hey, it still helps. Reflux, interesting. Narrowed the spread angle when firing without charging byproduct. So didn't they do this already? Didn't they do this once before where they just narrowed the spread of the shots while firing without charging? Okay, was it a full charge that they narrowed it before, and now they're here? I'm gonna look up reflux version history. Depending on the amount of charge, making it easier to focus on attacking. Okay, so they did already do this, but I think it was with the full charge. I think it was like when you charged, it like brought the angle down more and more. But now they're just narrowing it in general. So I wonder if this actually affects its ability to paint and like paint for missiles. Like that could actually be a nerf, because the fact that it spreads out a lot and paints a lot is a big strength of the weapon as a support weapon. So either way, like they're making this more of a weapon that can fight reliably, that like when you fire shots, they're going to all hit the target more often because of this change. So that's interesting. I'm curious to see how that ends up affecting it. Specials. Killer whale's getting changed. Interesting. If there's no target it can lock onto in the area of effect, it will now lock onto the target last in the area of effect. Huh, okay. So when you fire off a killer whale right now and there's just nobody anywhere near you, they'll kind of just move randomly based on, like, I think where you were aiming. But now it will actually locate whoever was recently there, even if it can't reach them. That's interesting. Like, because I think it's global. I think it's a global special. I don't think it actually has a point where the laser just ends. So I think this means that it's always going to lock on to someone, that it's never just going to aim in random places, that it'll always find something to target. Added a display indicator and sound effect to clarify the locked on target when the lasers are fired. Okay. So that should be a nice little quality of life thing. I don't think it's a huge difference or anything. But it'll make it a little bit clearer, like which ones they're targeting, so you know, like, oh, wait, I meant to aim it at that one, but now they're moving at that person instead. So, not bad. Okay, that's interesting. And that makes it feel a little bit more like truly global. That if I'm interpreting this right, it's just going to target someone on every use of the special. Zipcaster, now possible to attach closer to the ground than before. Does this mean they fixed the, like, reticle thing where, like, where you aim it was just slightly off vertically from where it looked like you were aiming it? Maybe that's what they did. I don't know exactly what that means. Increased the damage dealt by the explosion from colliding with the ground. Radius of that explosion is increased by 50%. That's pretty big. They don't say what they increased it to. Huh. Usually that's a piece of information we get. That's interesting. From landing with the ground, Usually, at most, you're going to be like zipping through someone. Like if you land on top of someone, that's pretty rare. Will that mean it'll one shot if you get the zip through them and then hit the ground on top of them, like the explode combo thing? I don't know because we don't have the damage numbers. But that could be interesting. Zipcaster definitely needed some attention. Zipcaster was really falling behind. So we could see some Stampers back. Stamper has not been doing quite as well recently. So we could see a little bit more Stamper these days. That's not to say that nobody's been playing it. I still think it's a really good weapon, but it's been less popular. But that could be good for it. We'll see if those are the changes that it needed, though. Whale also, I mean, this is a slight buff, I would say. Because if you use it and there's nobody in range, you probably shouldn't have been using it in the first place. But now that's not really even the case anymore. Like you can just use it wherever you want, and it'll find whoever is there to find. So this could mean that you could provide cross-map support with this thing. So that's neat. Tacticooler. Oh, are they nerfing? Extended the cooldown time for the special gauge after placing it from 7.5 to 10 seconds. Cooldown time after placing it for the special gauge. Okay, so this is nerfing cooler output, which is a good thing. It was kind of needed. Tacticooler was running rampant. We'll see if that's the right amount for it, if that's strong enough of a nerf, if that's not going to do anything, if it's too strong of a nerf. But I like their priorities so far. Like weak weapon, they got buffs. Weapon that's kind of mid, and it got kind of a side grade, so this one's a little bit odd, but wasn't seeing a lot of use, got buffs, was seeing a massive amount of use. The N-Zap is considered by a lot of people to be the best weapon in the game right now, and got a significant nerf. So I like where their thoughts are with this. Changed tenacity, increased the speed at which the special gauge fills when conditions are met. Okay, so they buffed tenacity. It doesn't say how much it increases the speed by, so it's still uncertain how much that's worth it, but it is something that people want to consider now, because, special charge is powerful, and if you are planning for whatever reason to be alone on the map a lot of the time, then it could be valuable. I'm trying to think, there aren't that many weapons that have been like the custom jet from Splatoon 2, the one that got Stingray. There haven't been a lot of backline weapons that have been really special spammers like that. I could see the Heavy Edit maybe wanting to use this. Granted, Tacticooler is getting nerfed, so that's part of its niche that's now a little bit more difficult to help with. But hey, I mean, it is a splatling. It's probably not going to paint incredibly well, and tenacity might get at that cooler a little bit faster if that's kind of part of the goal there. This might be something that I have my teammate Esper look into, because we've been playing Snipe Rider a lot. So, I don't know. Could be something useful there. LDE. Reduced the maximum amount of the effect for the ability increase while conditions are met. From 2.4 to 1.8. That's a significant nerf to LDE. I'm surprised they're doing this now. I wouldn't say that there was a moment where LDE was insane, where everyone was running LDE, where if you were a support player, you ran this in Splatoon 2, where there was a lot of bomb spam going on, and a lot of special spam and bomb spam to just hole up in choke points and make it difficult to push. That would have been a good time for an LDE nerf. Now I don't feel like it's been that much a part of the game, but I don't know, maybe I haven't been paying attention to gear builds enough. This isn't something that I've gone on record a lot of the times to say that I think gear is one of the least important parts of getting better at the game. That if you lost a match, the gear is not even 8th or 9th on the list of things that you want to be thinking about improving before you get there and you're no, I definitely lost this match because I didn't have LDE on. So it's not the really high up on my priority list. It's not on my radar that often, but it is interesting because this has been a big part of the game for a while. This is something that you definitely consider just for, 2.4 primary abilities of so many different chunks. That's so much gear. And now they've nerfed it pretty considerably. It's still definitely a lot, but It's a lot less. Okay, points for special nerf to N-Zap 85. They brought it up to 190. Oh no. How will it ever get its special anymore? Actually, this is... that's a little bit facetious because, like, on one hand, this is not a huge nerf. Like, this gets special faster than the Tri-Slosher Nouveau in terms of points per special, but it also paints so much better than the Tri-Nouveau. It was like, why is it like that? This is still not a lot of a nerf, but this, in combination with it, is a pretty significant nerf to the N-Zap. They clearly are targeting the N-Zap and trying to knock it down a peg, which I think is perfectly deserved, and I think that they're going after exactly the part of it that they need to be going after to nerf it. So, good stuff. Anarchy Nova? Really? Did they need that? I don't think they needed that. That is... It's, like, not a bad weapon, but it's kind of a random one to nerf. They're like, people are running ballpoint for Inkjet. Granted, Anarchy Nova is like an Inkjet spam weapon. That's what you're trying to do with it, because the main weapon sure as heck isn't doing a lot else. But why just take that niche away from it when that was the only thing it had? Like, that weapon has ink mines and is a 5-shot weapon with terrible accuracy. And not a great fire rate for that either. So, like, this was the thing that it had going for it, and they're nerfing it. I don't feel like that's really necessary, but there's always got to be something that feels a little bit random. An X power, challenge power, or Splatfest power calculations are complete. If the results exceed the maximum value for the initial calculated results, a small amount of the excess value will be added to the calculated results. Okay, so it looks like there's a way to place a little bit higher than you were able to before. So that'll be nice for people who are, like, regularly hitting the top of the leaderboards and are annoyed at having to grind their way all the way back up every season. Made it so that in challenges where rankings are sometimes announced, like monthly challenges, battles will not end as a no contest when a player disconnects immediately when either team is comprised of a group of 4 members. Okay, so they're treating it kind of like League battles from Splatoon 2, where if you've got all 4 people and someone disconnects, it's just a loss. Like, you're not going to just coordinate to have someone disconnect to collude with everybody else to get them a free way out. They just lose the points. To prevent wasting challenge time with no contest battles due to other team disconnected. And that's a big important part of it too, like wasting challenge time. These are very temporary things. Like, I actually played a challenge at one point where I was there for most of the playtime and just didn't have enough of a win rate to actually fill out my stamp card on it. I think I played like 9 matches and only won 3 of them, so I didn't end up getting it. And so preventing that from happening, I think, is a good decision. Grizzco Doolies. Ooh, that's interesting. I don't think I heard about this. I'm very curious to see what that looks like. Has that been announced? Is that a thing that we knew about? I don't know anything about that. Cool. Possible to select different stages even during the same time period with Splatfest Open and Pro? Are we going to have multiple playlists? Are we going to have more options? That's actually really cool. I mean, I'd love to be able to play different modes, but at least this gives you some variety. That might also make matchmaking a little harder during Splatfest, so we'll see, but I'm down. I'm down to try that out and see how that impacts the Splatfest. That seems like that could be a good thing. Change the default sorting for edit deck to sort by spaces, which is great because that's what everybody uses. I think the Table Turf people will love that. Changes to a lobby. You'll receive a notification when a friend uploads a battle replay. By opening the notification, you can download the replay. Ooh, so anybody that's you're friends with on the Switch, you can steal their footage and go and watch them. That might mess some things up. Like, that might make it so that it's harder for top-level players to hide their strats before a tournament. Because, like, anytime they play a match, I guess they have to upload the replay first. So never mind. As long as they're not, like, uploading the replay, people don't get to see it. Okay. Never mind. Made it so that friends and players in the same pool will be notified when you get a rare prize from the shell-out machine. Okay, so they can congratulate you about it. Made it possible so to use the shell-out machine in a private battle room as long as you haven't been divided into teams. Oh, cool. Something you could do in the meantime. That's a nice touch. When one player begins matchmaking and members have gathered, but there is a communication error, matchmaking is automatically reattempted once instead of being suspended as a result of the error. So is it does that player just get to come back in off of the communication error? Or is it like trying to start matchmaking while the player still isn't in the lobby? Hopefully not the second one. I would think that they would see the error in that. More decorations and stickers, 80 splash tag banners, and 400 titles. That's a lot. Start recon directly from stages screen on the main menu. Oh, okay. So you don't have to go to... This is really nice. You don't have to go to the square and walk all the way to the cafeteria worker goldfish lady. I forget which one that one is. Are they all named Marigold? Because there's multiple of them, and I'm not sure whether they're the same person or not. They just follow you around. Anyway, so you don't have to walk all the way out there. You can just go there straight from the menu, which is really helpful. I enjoy that. That is something that I use a lot in my videos, and it's nice to be able to go there quickly. Very nice. Weapons. Adjustments to improve usability, improve Zipcaster in particular, make it easier to use in close quarters. I'll take a look through the bug fixes real quick, and then I'll give my overall thoughts. Oh, fixed an issue that allowed players to climb unclimbable walls in rare cases when performing certain actions right after the squid roll. Pretty sure this is the Manta Maria thing on the left side where we saw a Splatana Stamper getting up that wall and then being able to use an intensify action wall jump squid roll into a quick charge slash to get themselves above it when you're not supposed to be able to climb that wall. So they've removed that. Which, you know that they're going to remove that. That was really niche. Like, I don't think people were actually trying to use that in matches, but good to have it out there, just in case someone tried. Repeated fully charged shots at the wall did not ink walls. Did it? Ooh, okay. That could be a buff for Snipe Rider. Movement sometimes halted to the point where great meets the ground. This is good. Yeah, like, I hope that this change fixes some other things. Like, there are some weird things that happen with, like... I think it's charger shots when you aim them out over a slope where they just like randomly don't paint the slope sometimes. Maybe these kinds of changes might have an impact on that. Okay, help for undercover umbrella durability. I don't know how common that was, but so it looks like they might have increased the buffer for Trizuka shots. Might have made it so that you can like buffer your second shot if you want it to come out really quickly after the first one. I'll have to try that out and see how that feels. Issue in Manta Maria where it was possible to get into unintended areas. This also might be the same fix. I'm pretty sure that this is fixed for one of these fixes or another. So, overall, I think a significant proportion of these changes are positive. Like, there were very few of these where I look at them and go, huh? Why are they doing that? Like, I think there aren't that many changes, and it's weird that this particular change is one that they decided to make. That's probably the weirdest one to me. But for the most part, like, I think all of these are pretty reasonable otherwise. This is not a patch where you're planning on putting in, like, a lot of new changes to, like, weapons and stuff. You're only really going to address the things that you definitely know are still going to be a problem. And so I think they've done a really good job of doing that. Again, like, they're only addressing a few things at a time. Maybe it's just a matter of the volume of work that they can do on any given patch. But I'm happy with all of the changes here. This one right here is going to make a huge difference in the metagame. I think N-Zap is a lot less mandatory now. The question remains just how good it is and how often it will be used. That is going to significantly alter the makeup of team comps at top level, I can all but guarantee, unless the change is found to be pretty irrelevant. But we're going to see a lot more teams not running cooler, or we're going to be seeing a lot more teams that are trying to make alternative cooler options work instead of just the N-Zap. This isn't a huge nerf to the N-Zap, but it's at least letting there be less of a gap between N-Zap and other cooler weapons for cooler farming capability. So this makes Tri-Nouveau slightly more desirable. It makes Snipe Rider slightly more desirable, that kind of thing. These could be impactful. This could change people's builds. This could be something that people want to experiment with. We might see more Stamper back now that the Zipcaster's got its buffs. Killer Whale, I don't think this will be a huge change, but it might be something that makes, say, 52 more viable. And then, anything that they can give the Brellas, get those Brellas up to snuff. One of these days, we're going to have a good Brella. It might be these days because we've got the Sorella Brella right here that has one of the best kits it can ask for, and it's now got this buff too. Let's see if we can get this thing up to mid or high tier or something. I would love to see another Brella in the game. It's a really interesting weapon that changes the dynamic of how you have to play. It's going to have Inkjet, and I think the synergy between the Brella Shield and the Inkjet is cool. We had a point in the game where Brellas were really strong, and it made it so blasters were more in the metagame because those kind of beat Brellas, and that made blasters have more of a niche, and blasters are cool. So if this ends up entering the meta, I think we're having a really cool metagame. And the fact that we're going to have a little bit less cooler to have to worry about will probably open up other avenues of approaching the game. I don't know. I don't see anything in this patch that I don't really like, except for maybe what they did to the Nova, and I don't really personally mind what they did to the Nova. I just feel for the people who have been picking it up, because I don't know why this was necessary. That's kind of its whole niche, is having a special out pretty frequently. It's not doing much else for you, so I don't think they needed that, but yeah, I'm pretty happy with it. Looking forward to trying out the new weapons and the new kits and seeing what this game ends up looking like when we do.